Some of those texts are hilarious. Hello. Hi. Greg, what's up? We getting a Taylor Self show tonight? No, sorry. This is that made a really loud sound. Hopefully it didn't mess with you guys too much. No, this show is going to be like super niche. It's really only going to be relevant to you if you own a CrossFit gym, or I guess any gym, but particularly for CrossFit gyms, and just some updates that I made to like my website and stuff like that. I find this valuable. Most of you guys that are watching this probably will not find it valuable. I will be super surprised if this thing gets more than 1,000 views. Chris Bursterfield. How do I say your last name? I don't know how to say it. Perfect timing. Oh, all right, cool. Glad you're here. So yeah, we're going to chat a little bit about optimizing your website if you're a CrossFit gym. I've gotten people like that have reached out about questions about it and different things like that. And I just thought I'd make just a quick show. This is the easiest way to do it on live because I don't have to do with any post-production or anything like that. Beasterfield. Okay. Great show with Nicole. Thank you. I know you guys probably knew this. I don't know if I said it on the show, but we were all hanging out backstage, getting ready to go live. And then James Hobart's internet just like drops off. And they couldn't get it back on. Like in his whole entire area, the internet was down. And so they were just like, are you cool with hosting it? And I was like, sure. And less than 2 minutes later, we went live. And yeah, that's how that went. I kept like looking up in the corner because I could see the title of the show. And I was like, shoot, I don't have questions prepared or anything. And there's a big difference when you're hosting a show. And Chris, you probably know this from hosting your podcast versus just showing up as a guest. Like, when you host it, you have to kind of have some forward moving momentum. Like you have to have the next question, the next topic, the next place you're going to go with it. Because if you don't, it gets that weird, awkward, like, and then if your guests start to feel uncomfortable, it gets weird. So anyways, I hope that didn't translate over to you guys at all. Vittorio, good for you, Susan. Nicely done. Thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, I just kind of rolled with it. Like, I hear Sevon all the time when I ask him like, oh man, that got weird on the show, or like, what'd you think about that? Or like asking that question. And he always just kind of says the same thing. I just kind of took a breath and was just like, all right, just be present and just like play it cool. And so that's kind of what I was saying in my mind the whole entire time. I was really glad that it was the second show, because the first one I overhyped myself up for it for some reason, thinking I would never be allowed back on. So I drank like way too much coffee and I was like way too fired up. And the second one, I felt way more relaxed. And then, of course, that all changed again when I learned I was hosting it 2 minutes before we went on. So for those of you guys that are like hanging out live here right now, I do have something that isn't really niche about a website prepared, which is actually the comments from that show, because there was one comment that I thought was actually really good and one that I wanted to address. And first off, like everybody, and I recognize a lot of you guys from the chat that come on there and say like, thank you, or like, glad that I was on. I cannot tell you how much that means to me. Thank you so much for that. Seriously. That's huge. I really appreciate that. So there was this one here, like this person asked, it'd be helpful if at the beginning you told us the roles of Matt, Nicole, Jen, to those of us and your new listeners who don't know you guys. Nice to know your names. But what's your relationship to CrossFit? Really enjoyed the conversation otherwise. I saw that comment. I was like, holy crap, that person is so right. Like that was one of the biggest things that I missed. You guys know I have trouble like pronouncing people's last names and all this stuff, as I did with just Chris Beasterfield. So yeah, I apologize. I definitely should have had at least some sort of intros or something planned or just cooked up or written down right away. But, and we don't even really do that on the shows. That was one of the things that I loved about the CrossFit podcast when Sevon hosted it. It just kind of like went into the flow. And I liked that for some reason. It was kind of just like you walked into the room of people that were already hanging out and they just invited you to take a seat, and you kind of caught up as it went, like who they were or what they were there for or what they accomplished or their story. I don't know. I kind of liked that vibe of it. I know a lot of complaints came in that show early on being like, can we get an intro? Who are these people? What's going on? So anyways, this was the question. Oh, it's actually by the same person, Sean in Oregon. So Sean in Oregon, thank you for the feedback and also your question here. which was at Matt Souza. Why do you think CrossFit needs to be a media company? What would that look like? And why is being a media company a solution to the problems CrossFit is trying to solve? So that's a great question. And number one, CrossFit we know is a methodology, and it is a message, and it is definitions. We also know that it's preventative healthcare, in my opinion. Just got into a debate with a couple of the guys in the text thread about if it's a sport or not. Hiller might have convinced me that it's okay to call it a sport. I'm still not quite there yet, so it's going to take me some time. But why do I think it needs to be a media company? Is because when the main thing is the message and the information and the education, media is the method of distribution. So like if you're not just distributing that message far and wide and in as many different forms as you possibly can, many different mediums, meaning writing, video, graphics, whatever, right, across all the platforms, then you're losing the most important part, in my opinion, of what CrossFit is, which is it's its message and it's its education. Now, of course, there's an entertainment factor with it. That's why I see like the games and all those other cool, like, and even the stories coming out of the affiliates, I would kind of categorize as entertainment. So I feel like that is why it is super important. And that is also delivers brand value. That's what makes CrossFit different than everything else, is by that message and continuously pushing it out, which is value for the affiliates. That's why people put CrossFit above their doors, because people know who it is. They've heard about it, or know what it is. Sorry, not who, but they've heard about it. They know what it is, and they type it into their Google and it pops up. So I think that's why it needs to be a media company, because really you're just distributing a message. The second thing is like, what would it look like, and why would being a media company solve its problems? So I sort of answered that. I do believe that there's a lot of internal, like not conflicts, but internal issues with CrossFit. That might be in part because it's about to sell and people don't really know if they're going to have their jobs or not. And that just makes it weird. The other thing is like there needs to be a strong leader at the helm. Like when you're running a company like that, especially when you're doing it like remotely, you need to have a strong leader and a strong presence, because that's like what ties everybody together. The other thing too is I seriously think that the vision is a little bit lost. And I have like this quote here, as I write them down, whenever I get inspired by it, that kind of encompasses kind of my mindset at the time. And the quote is, with no vision, the people perish. And so you need to have a direction, you need to have a vision, you need to have a leader that's pushing those two things. And without that, you start to get this internal struggle of the people that are working for it, kind of jockeying for position and different things like that. So I do think that that's an issue that the media company would not solve. But what would it look like? It would become the Barstool Sports of health and fitness. So you would just have multiple different personalities. And what I mean by that is there's a place for like what we do on the Sevon podcast, where the subjects go anywhere and everywhere and it's not afraid. And you would have something a little bit more buttoned up and polished on this other side. And you would have like what they call made for TV, which is videos that are done in like post-production, kind of like, oh, Grant, what's up, dude? Kind of like what Grant does here, and what Hiller does, where they make the video and then they do post-production and push it out. And I think you need all those type of things happening around the clock as CrossFit being the media company. So that's what it would look like. I also think you could take so many great talented people that we have within our space, especially within the media space, and start to elevate them and give them a platform. The weird thing is, though, is when you have 1.7 million subs and a lot of this stuff is having a hard time getting traction, you kind of lose the value proposition of like, hey, make us something and we'll post it on our site if it doesn't get much traction. So anyhow, I think that's why it needs to be a media company, and that's what it would look like. The second comment I want to address, which I kind of addressed to this guy, is this Samuel guy here. He said, glad Nicole at the end put some caveats to the F the shortcuts message. I haven't cussed a lot in a while. I'm just kind of like chilling off that. I don't know why. Without caveats, Souza, of course, me, the bad guy, not only is incorrect message, but it could be a dangerous one. This drives me up a wall when people are saying like, oh, misinformation or disinformation is dangerous. What you are saying right there is that you sit on your moral high horse and you're so educated in all of your things that you can decipher information and think that what is dangerous and what is not, but other people can't. And that's why they eat Tide Pods and you don't. because if I say Tide Pods taste great, that's dangerous because nobody can decipher that they shouldn't be eaten but me. That language is, I don't like that. So what I wrote back, oh, what the heck? It doesn't show my reply? Lame. Well, basically, what I wrote back to this guy is I was like, first off, Nicole and I basically said the same exact thing. Nobody said that CrossFit is like a cure all, as in if you do CrossFit, everything in your life is going to be better. But what I did say there, and I'm going to repeat here, is that 86 cents of every dollar is spent on chronic disease. And we know that CrossFit, the methodology, what you eat, how you move, is going to be preventative towards those chronic diseases. So yes, it's going to take a large chunk of a burden off the healthcare system, and it's going to give you to the 20-yard line of being healthy. It's not going to cure you from being hit by a bus, although it will build a hedge against that in the sense if you are stronger, have more muscle mass and more bone density, you're likely to recover faster and you're likely to not be as injured from those things. So Greg's 5 buckets of death is a beautiful explanation of this. And when he has the buckets up there, he has the really big one. That's the chronic disease bucket. Then he has the 4 smaller ones. And essentially what it's saying is like all of those things, the microbic, the kinetic, that's you being hit by a bus or, getting some sort of virus or different things like that. 14 cents of every dollar is spent on those 4 buckets combined versus 86 cents of every dollar is spent on the chronic disease bucket. So go figure, huh? Okay. So yeah, if you're talking about preventative healthcare, we're talking about CrossFit. If we could take that massive burden off of it, then guess what? Those other buckets that get filled, God forbid something happens to you. Of course, you're going to need the doctors. Of course, you're going to need the medical side of things. Duh. But like, it's not the main thing. The main thing should be you taking care of yourself and being preventative by watching what you eat and exercising with awesome friends. Okay. Let me blow myself back up here. So now we're going to get into the meat and the potatoes of the website stuff. And this is where everybody leaves because it gets pretty granular in the sense of if you own an affiliate and you want to learn about your website, here we go. So this is my website here, CrossFit Livermore. And one of the things that I often think about in terms of the website or people's first approach is I relate it to a church. Okay, now we have this opening establishing shot that shows you the building. We're watching our buddy John here walk into the building. You're seeing a mom with some of her kids come in through the bay door. We have Albert, my right-hand man, up in front of the screens. Hey, look, that guy coaching a little snatch there, right? So when you show this is basically a 15-second header video that takes you through your whole entire classroom experience. There's Vince and then coaching again. So it shows how much coaching is hands-on. We're watching Courtney hit a snatch there, right? She's moving beautifully. So is the person behind her. Okay. Then you see some high fives at the end. Yay, we did it. And this takes you through that whole kind of experience. And we just shot this. Jay came out and shot it. And it basically was just a one-day thing. And then we just took those and built out this video. Okay. So that if I'm brand new to CrossFit and I'm apprehensive, what are the people like? Am I going to get coached? Is it going to be awkward? Like, there you go. Within 15 seconds, right away on what they call above the fold on the website is your whole entire experience. Okay. Now, a couple other things I would like to point out here is we have your visiting drop-in. Make it easy for people that are dropping in. You click this button here and it's going to take them right to what class they want to sign up. They're able to pay for it right online. They're able to do a waiver. It shows up on your end. So that way, when they walk through the door, you could be like, yo, DDD, welcome in. We're stoked you're here to the 5:30 class. You already have all the logistical stuff taken care of and out of the way. And it makes it really easy for them to feel comfortable walking in. Okay, so that's for your drop-ins. Over here to the left-hand side, we have book a free intro. So when you click this here, it actually is going to take you to a orientation. So that way you could come in, meet with a coach, chat for a couple of minutes, and then this is where we help get you set up into your first class. All right, now at the top, it's just going to take you back to the homepage. It's going to reroute you to the free intro. It's going to explain the programs that we have here. Our foundations course is for people that are starting out. We have a youth strength and conditioning program that we run. And then we have CFL nutrition, our nutrition stuff. Okay. And then we have our schedule, making it super easy. And then again, we just have a couple drop downs on how to drop in and then the memberships and how that works. Now, I actually hide all the membership prices back behind wall where you have to give me your email, and then it shoots you out an email telling us their prices. That way I can at least contact you. Now, some people kind of disagree with that because they say, hey, it's putting up friction. I just want to know the prices. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You're just going to give me your email so I could bug you later. So that's a way to kind of capture people that are just like, what I like to say is just kicking tires on the car and kind of checking it out. You want to know if they're checking it out and contact them. Okay. So it makes it super easy. And then what we have here, if you guys see the language on this, like premier CrossFit gym in Livermore, expert coaching and community. So it seems a little redundant, but this is something you guys could do super easy with your website. If you just take the language, like whatever the copy is on your website, and you go ahead and throw it into specifically Google's AI, Gemini, and you say, please optimize this for Google's SEO. What that does is it'll reframe it with the SEO that's going to pop up into Google. So that way you have all your keyword searches and stuff like that completely for free, and your website will be totally optimized. So don't fall in the trap of thinking you have to pay somebody to do that. Not in the day of AI. I literally copy pasted every word on this thing and threw it in there, and it spit it out page by page, and I copy pasted it back in, and now it's as completely optimized for Google as it possibly can be. And as you guys know, Google is probably going to be where majority of your people first come and search for your gym. Most likely they're going to type in gym near me, and so you could get free SEO by just doing this. I almost went on a rant about what CrossFit paid for back in the day, but we're not doing that here. We're staying true to the website. So again, we're thinking about it in the way of like, how does a church welcome in a community? We want to make it as easy as possible for them to see everything, understand what it's going to be like, get a look inside the building, who the people are, what the coaching is, all of that. Now, again, you have another spot for you to opt into your intro. Okay. It's easy. You have it here. You have it here. You have it here. And if I'm dropping in, I have it here as well as drop in here. Okay. So as many access points as you could have above the fold for either new people or drop-ins are going to be important. This is reducing friction. Just means makes it easy on them. Okay. Right below the fold. That's what it means when we scroll down. And this basically just condenses for mobile. Most people are going to be in mobile. So make sure your website looks good on mobile. I'm showing you guys on desktop, so it's bigger. And we're obviously on a computer. So as soon as I scroll down, what I want is social proof. That means I want some sort of reviews there. Now, what we do is scrape every single review off of Yelp, off of Google, off of Facebook, and I load it into a Google Sheet, because then I use a lot of those reviews for content on my social media. But most importantly, I use them here, and we kind of switch them out every once in a while. So I have what my gym looks like, what that experience is going to be like right off the jump. I have multiple access points for new people or drop-ins. And then as soon as we scroll down, we have proof that what you're seeing works for people, and they are confirming what we're showing them in that video. And that's really powerful, because you don't want a bunch of stuff on your website. I wouldn't recommend having the workout there as the first thing they see or anything like that. Those are kind of relics of the past. This is going to give a much better experience for a newer person coming in. Okay, the second thing we have is another button for them to go ahead and book the intro. Okay, so if I wasn't convinced up here by seeing all the fun people high-fiving, as I scroll down, now I have social proof. I get to read about everything I just saw. And I scroll down, I have another book intro button. I got a nice picture here. Gina doing her thruster. Just a photo showcasing the gym. And then it starts to give some explanation on what CrossFit is. Now, if you notice, there is yet another book and intro button. Okay. Now, these are super important, because the more access points you have, the easier it is for them to opt in, come and meet you, or come try a class at your gym. All right. Now, as I scroll down, we have a little bit of stuff here about the specialized program, CFL nutrition, which my wife runs. And then you have all the language about like, here's what we do for beginners, stuff like that. And just as I said before, I highly recommend you take all the words on your website, you throw them into Google's Gemini AI, and you just ask it to optimize for SEO. It won't change necessarily like the meat and potatoes of what you're trying to get across. It just will change a few of the words, so that way it shows up on Google's keywords. Now, if you don't like your copy or you want to change it, all you have to do is just put that in and say, please optimize for SEO and simplify this language. The best thing for you to do is to take it down to a 3rd grade reading level. I know that sounds crazy, but the simpler it is, the shorter it is, the easier it is for you to read, the more easy it's going to be for me to consume if I'm just somebody down here just scrolling through and looking through the website. Okay. Now, what do we have here? Yet another book an intro button. Okay. So you guys can tell at this point, there's so many access points for you to come in to either try a class or have an orientation. Okay. And then we have here where it basically showcases, if they're still not convinced, what exactly is going to happen, right? So join the best CrossFit gym in Livermore. We have booked their free intro. We build out a custom plan. That's when we kind of talk them through what to expect, where their starting point might be, especially if they're really deconditioned. That's a nice way of saying that they haven't worked out in a long time, right? They might need some more hands-on. They might need some more personal training before we put them even in the foundations class. And that's a great chance for those of you guys that do have multiple programs to kind of build out a custom program. And with inside that, like, you'll really be able to, the term's upsell, but you'll really be able to solve their problems. That's the way I see it. Now, when someone shows up to your gym, it takes a lot of courage for them, especially in a CrossFit gym, to walk in for the first time. And that means that's going to be their most motivated time to get themselves started on their new kind of lifestyle choice or on the new fitness journey. This is a great chance for you to not only become a really good friend with them, but just kind of like lay out a plan for them. Don't be weird, like sales pushy shit. Just basically like ask them, hey, what are you coming in for? And like, how could we help you solve the problem? Give them some recommendations. Have them come in and try a class if they're still apprehensive about it. Okay. And then again, we have that book free intro button there. Another photo here. My wife's going to kill me if she realizes that the trash cans are in that photo. I better change that now that I'm looking at it. And then we have the class schedule. Okay. So we got all the different classes that we have to offer there. You can see we have CrossFit classes all day. And the more classes you have the ability to offer. And the reason why I say you have the ability to offer is because I know some of you guys are like owner operator, plus you might have another job and different things like that. But if you could get yourself a nice spread of classes, that's going to obviously make it easier for me to join your gym, and it's going to give me some more options. This could also be your differentiator versus the gym up the street or the gym next door. If you know that they can only offer a certain amount of classes, but you could offer more, there you go. That's another selling point for your gym. Hey, you come at 5:30 a.m. Come work out with me. That's the time I coach the class. If you miss that, we got 6:30 a.m., right? So you have all those up there. And then at the end, we have another thing for you to opt into. Okay. And then we got a map on there, so it's easy for you to find. And then finally, we have the footer. So we got Susie over here giving Ron a little fist pound. Congrats, you finished the workout. And then we have our book, the free intro button, as well as just the hours simplified down here. And then, and then our address again one more time. Okay. So as you guys are kind of thinking about your websites and different things like that, now this is obviously a Wodify website. As you guys know, they're a sponsor, but you don't need to have a Wodify website to make this work for yours. All right. You could basically utilize it like on any site, and you could probably change this relatively easily. Now, when you guys film these videos here, you don't necessarily need Jay with like a fancy camera and a gimbal. You guys could take your iPhone, assuming you have one. If you don't, you're not cool. No, I'm just kidding. You could take your iPhone, turn it horizontally, and then film on cinematic mode, and you would catch just as good quality stuff. There's no sound involved with this. Okay. If you don't have a drone, just film yourself walking up to the front door of your gym. That's called the establishing shot. That's that shot there. This is going to show them like, I know where it's at now. I could recognize the building without ever having to be there. I know that there's another access point through that bay door. I just showed Colleen and her sons walking through it. So now I know I could come in through both doors. Those little things are often overlooked, but they're super important, because the biggest reason people aren't going to show up to your gym is because they don't want to feel awkward. They're like, am I going to be the weird guy there? Like, what's going to happen? Like, I want to just be able to fit in. Okay. So that's why I kind of show those multiple access points. And then we show the coaches coaching, because that's super important. We show everybody high-fiving. There's obviously all different types of people in there. Jethro, I have a droid. That's fucked up, bro. Sorry, dude. You're the only cool person I know at the droid. And then we can go to programs. So when we go over to the foundations course, I have another video. Okay. It's super easy for me to consume. It's also 30 seconds and it starts with that opening establishing shot. We also have more areas for us to book in, a quick little description of what I'm going to get. And basically this video here, which will play it.
Most people are scared or nervous to step into a CrossFit gym for the first time. The CrossFit Livermore Foundations course is designed to develop long-term learning. When you step into the door, your first friend here will be a coach. Your coach will take you through class, giving you personal instruction and movement cues for the workout that day. After completing the Foundations course, you'll have all the tools necessary to go into classes on your own. You don't have to be fit to start, just start.
Okay, so Albert, you're going to recognize him because he's going to be the person that's going to greet you when you come in. If you guys saw, we recycled a lot of those shots, right? So you saw some of the shots from the header video. Now you're seeing them back in here. So you don't need to like film a ton of stuff. You could capture this in one day and then kind of do your talking head video. Itchy, I don't know, price tab at the top for me is desirable. Make me hunt for that and I might exit early. No, we have that right here. If you go to gym intro, you go to memberships. The big thing is I make you fill this out first. And the reason why is because I want to know if you're looking for a gym. I want to know that you came and you looked in my window and you went like this and looked around. I'm not just going to give you the prices. I want something in return. And that's okay because like if that's going to be the sticking point for you, that's fine because I don't want people to pick my gym based on price. Because typically you're going to go there and you're going to look at the price and you're either going to decide, it's too expensive or I want something, that price is okay. Maybe now I'll go in and see. We don't want to waste our time with that. I want you to come in and have a conversation because if I have a price point up there, that's the most expensive gym, you already might just cancel me out and just say, well, I'm not going to go to that gym. I could go to the gym up the street. It's also a CrossFit gym. There's no difference. I just want to make my decision based on price. That's fine. We don't want those customers. I want a customer that's willing to pay for a higher experience, like a higher level experience. I want them to be able to pay for expertise. I do not want to compete on price. I want to compete on value. And that's a much, much, much different thing. Okay. Go to your Groupon if you want the price. So back to the programs here. So we have that shot with the talking head plus showcasing what foundations is. And then you have the bottom part down here as far as like just the written of basically what was said in the video. Okay. And no, I didn't say I didn't want you. Don't conflate that. I said, if you're deciding on the cheapest gym in town, I definitely don't want you. But I'm sure you're a wonderful person. I'm sure you would love the gym, and I'm sure you would love paying a few bucks extra for our awesome expertise. Now, when I go to the youth strength and conditioning, we have Joe here who runs the youth side of the stuff, and it's the same exact thing. It's a talking head video.
My name is Joe Icano, director of ACES Youth Strength and Conditioning. What is ACES? ACES is a 6-week
So now we're showcasing here like the kids, right? They have them working out. We're showing them with the barbells. They're doing some wall balls. They're writing a name up on a whiteboard. And I won't bore you guys with the rest of it, but this is Joe talking, them stretching. And it basically is like confirming everything he's saying, but it also is showcasing the kids that are in there. So you could see what it looks like as they're getting instruction. We could see what it looks like as they're moving with a barbell, or in this case, a lot of times it's a PVC pipe because some of these kids are pretty young and move all like, wow, spaghetti. So it takes them a little bit to work up to a barbell. And we have 15 and 10 pound barbells. Okay. So not anybody get any crazy. Also too, just a side note, like typically if you're like wise, you already have in your waiver that you could film the adults. The kids are a different story. What we did to film this is we actually put out a casting call to a lot of the kids that have been with us for a couple of years. And we're just like, hey, we want to shoot this video. If you guys are comfortable with having your kids come in while we shoot this, here's a special class. We're just doing this one class so we could shoot some B-roll. I shot the B-roll myself. I know a lot of the parents. I know a lot of the kids, so they're comfortable with it. Okay. So if you guys do have a youth program, just make sure you check all those boxes, because don't be a weirdo just filming some people's kids. You know what I mean? Like, make sure you got permission and they know that they're there for that. All right. Now with this here, you have your book your free intro. This one actually goes all to the same lead spot. I don't delineate like which leads come in, but they do get tagged with something. So that way I know like, okay, they came in through like the lead side, but it all dumps into one portal on the back end. All right. And then the same thing here. We just have all the words that confirm the video with Joe talking. And then again, we have the header here, our map, and another spot for them to opt in. Okay. So free intro, same thing. It's just going to route you to here. Same spot it routes you as a membership for pricing. And then now we're back at the homepage. So the idea of this is you don't want them to hang out on the website. You don't want to overload them with information. You just want to check the boxes of here's what it looks like. Here's giving you as much information so you feel comfortable when you show up. Here's social proof, reviews from actual people that go to your gym. And now here's a bunch of buttons for you to opt in and click in. Okay. So I see a lot of times some gyms' websites are just like messy. They have all this writing up. They're going to like do this stuff. You might even put your workout up. And if you looked at my website in the early days, I have all the things that I just suggested not to do. We did. And especially the workout, because I wanted to replicate CrossFit.com back in the day. I was like, mine's going to be like a mini CrossFit.com. And having the workout up there wasn't the best choice. It is the best choice for HQ, if you ask me, but it's not the best choice for your gym necessarily, because some people could see, like, let's say the workout of the day is like ring muscle ups, handstand walks, and heavy power cleans. If that's the first thing someone sees, they're gonna be like, whoa, that's crazy. I can't even do this workout, right? What's that? I do hate going to gym websites and it's generic photos and not actual real ones of the gym. Yeah, 100%. It's you guys really got to make sure that you're showcasing your gym. Like, don't leave like the stock photo inside the picture frame that you get from Target, right? With like the random family there or something. So, D.D_D. Triple D's. Do you want to critique mine, Susan? I can. Do you want me to? I could do that real quick. If you throw it in the chat, I'll bring it up and we could just walk through it. One other thing that I will say that's super low hanging fruit for your guys' social media accounts. If I go to your gym Instagram page and you have a link tree and I click it and then there's 4 links there. Dumb. You have created friction. Stop. I should click it just like this website, and that link should take you right to the booking. Don't like scroll through the links. So like some people try to do like a lead magnet there and they'll be like, here's a free meal plan or whatever. Like, don't do that. Capture their email first, find a way to have them make contact with you. And then you could send them some of the lead magnet stuff. To Itchy's point, which thank you for talking about like the price, the membership stuff, because it really allowed me to draw some clarity on why I do what I do, is like, I really want to engage with and give as much as my time to people that really want to commit to the gym, and just putting that little bit of friction up for that pricing or your Instagram to where there's nothing else to do. You just opt in to talk to somebody, Eventually they'll just opt in to talk to somebody. And if they don't, and they just kind of like window shoppers or whatever, you don't have to waste any of your time with it. They just move on to the next one. So anyhow, short and sweet, 33 minutes. Hopefully some of the comment review will get a few people in. It's a cheap GoDaddy site. Be kind. Well, dude, come on, just put it in there. If you want to do it, I'm about to jump off. I got to go eat dinner. My wife's texting me. What do we got going on over here? Oh, she's doing projects at the gym. She's telling me I can do dinner. What is it? Matuthian be a sponsor? Yes. Matuthian for Kill Taylor on Saturday. Now we're doing work. I hate when they also bring up, the guy's going to come clean our barbells on the second week of September. Awesome. That's good. Did you throw it in there? It's there? Where? I don't see it. It's there. Okay. All right, DD, you're about to lose your opportunity here. Man, I wish you guys got to see all the sides of JR. He is hilarious. He was just like texting me back and forth with some stuff. Okay. All right, DD, you missed out on your chance. Maybe we could do it again. If you guys, for any reason, want me to look over your site, maybe we'll make another show of it or something, and you could just shoot it to me in a DM. The original Steve Miller, what's up, man? back squat for days. Great depth on that bad boy too. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully, if you own an affiliate, or if you're thinking about it, or if you want to update some website, there's some tips on there that you guys could do. I put a lot of thought into that, as you guys could see. And yeah, so lots of ways to do membership sites, options. Key is to pivot when it's not working. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. Peace out. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Have a great day, night, evening. Bye-bye.